Welcome to the More Than Just Mowing podcast. I'm your host, Joel Cleaver, and this is the official podcast of Jim's Mowing. If you didn't know it, it's the world's largest gardening franchise with more than 2,000 franchisees in Australia, New Zealand and Canada. And on the podcast show, we interview franchisees, our franchisors who run the regions and manage the franchisees, and also Jim himself. So there's a lot of broad range of content, and we do encourage you, if you are researching more about Jim's Mowing, about what we do, go through those episodes. It will give you a great sense of who we are. So without further delay, here's today's episode. Well, so thank you for being a part of our core interview series, and this is for the Jim's Mowing podcast and the Jim's Group one as well. And I'm joined by Nathan Boyce, and you're from Jim's Mowing. Is it Kalala? I don't know how to say it exactly. Is it?
Yeah, Kalala in Tamworth.
Kalala in Tamworth. Now, you've been with us since 2020, end of 2020. So what were you doing prior to Jim's Mowing?
Before Jim's, I was in the automotive industry for just under 20 years in service management side of things, also ran tire shops. So
wow.
Big customer service roles. Yeah.
And what prompted the change there, Nathan?
Lifestyle. Just I tried to actually get into gyms 3 times and never worked out the other way. So we've other bits and pieces going on in my life. But yeah, this opportunity came up and just jumped on board.
Absolutely. Now, you've got a great star rating. You've got, average of 5-star rating. So perfect record, 52 ratings, which is fantastic, which is why we're going to give you this, of course, silver membership. But so how do you maintain a good rating, or you haven't had one bad feedback from what I can see here. So how do you maintain that high service standard? Do you want to just talk about what you do maybe in your business and how you treat the customer, which might be a bit different?
I think it's one of the things with customer service coming out of it from the automotive industry and coming into, I've brought those experiences in with me, and you try to always put yourself in the customer's shoes to understand why they're getting you to do it. I've had customers say to me, you don't realize with what you've done, you've just mowed my lawn, but I've had this happen this week, this happened, all these whirlwinds and things, and you come in and you're just basically making their life better and easier and less stress. So by doing all those little things like that, it's all the little things that people don't see. They're the things that matter, I feel, in what we do. All the attention to detail. You'll hear a lot of people go on about straight edges and everything like that. Yeah, that's great, but really, it's all doing those things so the customers don't have to do it, and doing them better than what they can, and giving them that wow factor.
That's a fantastic answer. Now, is there any more examples you can give around that wow factor that you do in your business? You said one before, but is there anything else maybe do you want to, from customers that you currently service, that you do that goes a little bit extra in what you do?
Put the green bin out. If you like being local, when green bins are going to be going out, put them out, but don't just put the green bin out, put the red bin out as well. You get to know customers who appreciate those little bits and pieces. There's that rather than getting upset or frustrated when people leave things scattered around the yard, put them to the side, clean up, do your job, and then actually put them back, but put them back neat. So people get upset in our industry, get upset about hoses being left strewn across lawns. Put it to the side, do your job, then actually wrap it up and put it back where it should be. Just those little, I think they're just little 1%ers.
But they're really important, Nathan, as you said, and that customer probably comes home and you might have just done them in the lawn, but they might see the bins being put out for them. That's this thing they say, oh, geez, Nathan must have done that. That sort of sticks in their head, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now with Jim's Mowing, it's obviously Jim's Mowing, but there's a lot more you can do. So maybe you want to talk about the services that you do in your business for your customers.
Okay, so with my business, I've got a mixture of residential, strata, and commercial customers. So with all of them, I do spraying, fertilizing, cutbacks, pruning, hedging, rubbish removal. Sometimes that's a little bit of an adventure, a bit of a mystery, a bit of a jackpot to see what you're actually going to be putting in the back of your trailer. But really, those sorts of things are, you can see the difference that you're making in a customer's backyard or garage or whatever you're taking away.
Well, I think customers don't know we do rubbish removal, but it's a great thing to do is to use the Jim's Mowing guy or girl, because they have the far less, could be a lot quicker than having to wait for a skip bin to come and far cheaper. And you could probably just take maybe not as much as a skip sometimes, but you could take a fair bit of rubbish away.
Yeah, that's right. I've done quite a few rubbish runs over the past couple of years, and great money, but also what you can actually fit in the back of your trailer is pretty surprising.
How much can you fit? Is it an 8x5 you have there, or how much do you reckon you get in there?
8x5. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So always get in there and you actually stomp it down, and do the same when I'm doing green waste. And it's actually better when you actually turn up to the tip. You can pull it out and it's all compacted, and you're not taking too much. It doesn't take too long to empty it out.
Now, you started just before, was it just before COVID, or was it just after it started? I don't know.
During the midst of it, just the early days of COVID, I didn't actually go do training in Melbourne. I was one of the first people to do it on the
Online.
video.
Yeah, that was an experience setting that up. Yeah.
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 So that was watched all the videos online, but then got amongst it as, and my franchisor Todd and Sarah Bryson over in Port Macquarie, asked lots of questions, lots of silly questions, that you might think are silly, but they're not silly, that everyone's thinking. So yeah.
And how did you go starting a business during that time? Because they must have been going, geez, I've gone and made the leap from this into this, and this has happened. So what was the levels of work like, or how was that experience for you up there? And Victoria is obviously a little bit different with what we had, but with you guys, what was it like for you?
Pretty much, I was building my business at the time, but I was able to, I was still taking leads. And before gyms, I'd actually started doing lawn mowing myself just out the back of my ute. So I'd had some strata customers that I basically have doubled since, and they kept me going, taking plenty of, there's still plenty of leads, still plenty of work. It was like there was COVID, but out there mowing lawns and doing what we do, I don't think it really affected us. People were still spending money and still wanted services provided. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that you did have a crack at doing your own. Was it like something where you would you class yourself as an independent before, or were you just sort of So why was it Jim's Mowing? Why'd you come across?
It's that that the brand is what really, and you might think that's funny, silly thing to say. If you were to look in behind the scenes there in the system there, you'd see that I haven't taken a lead out of the call center in probably, it's over 12 months. But it's a backstop, really. It's the if I wasn't to have all of my customers that I've got now, if I was to that work was to dry up, turn my leads back on, and I've got work again. There's the bloke in the design his face on our clothing. Yeah, there you go. He stands behind the brand, really. He's the one who, if we get a bad survey, he's the one who we've got to email and
Yes.
have it right after we've spoken to the customer and sorted everything out. So, yeah.
That's what, like I tell, I know from working with Jim for 12 years, that's what he spends most of his time on, is the complaints. So it's not just something we say for customers. Franchisees know that all too well, that it's Jim that gets involved with complaints if he needs to. And it's interesting to say that about the brand, because everyone's like, the brand, and like, what does that mean? So to you, is it something where the brand just means like, obviously the work's there, which is fantastic for you, but is it something where commercials or the real estate agents, you feel like your first preference with those sorts of jobs as opposed to an independent, or how do you think that works from that perspective?
Well, good example, good story. I got a lead through for a real estate job. It was I call it a Christmas miracle, because I couldn't get anyone to do it. It's one of those jobs, a real estate job, where you turn up and the lawns haven't been done. They've got an inspection the next day, or open house the next day. It's knee-high grass, and you just, okay, yep, all right, let's go. And you just sorted out, took away all the green waste. It looked great for the inspection. They ended up selling the house, great. But then from there, I did another one, then another one, and then I kept getting these phone calls, and they said, we're moving out, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, okay, yep, no worries. End of lease, mow. And then what I found out was this real estate agent had actually, without even telling me or asking me, put my details in the little booklet that they hand out to new leasees and when they sell a house. So there was my
Wow.
name. It was actually my mobile number, and I had absolutely no idea that they were doing this. So all because I provided a really good service, just dropped everything, got it done. So
You never know what those jobs are going to turn into, do you? You don't know who that
yeah,
person owns or what they know or all that sort of stuff.
yeah.
That's fantastic. And I should reiterate before as well, you haven't been taking leads for a year, which is a really fantastic sign in regards to you must provide a really good service to your clients because you're obviously getting referrals and you're doing all this great stuff. So I just want to reiterate to everyone that not taking leads in 1 year is a really good thing if you don't need those leads because you've obviously got a great business. We've talked to a few franchisees today who've been taking leads for a couple of years as well. It's the same thing. They might not have as many star ratings, but they've got a client base that's really loyal and stays with them for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, what gear do you use in your business, Nathan? Everyone likes knowing what the professionals use. So, what do you use in your franchise?
I'm well supported by Tom Benson from Tinks Mowers back in Newcastle. He's actually 3 hours away. With Palenque, so I use
The Palenque.
Yeah. There's no dealer here in Tamworth, and some people thought I was a little bit crazy by taking on all the gear, but it's professional, it's commercial, and yeah, I'm sure Todd and Sarah Bryson, franchisors, would like me saying this, but yeah, it's not AEG. It's heaps better than AEG. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Palenque stuff for those that don't know, I know a little bit about it because obviously we get in the training theatre and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a French company which is originally did like all wine agricultural stuff, and then they've sort of gone down to this. And our franchisees down here use it as well, and some run the full setup in the inner city. Some might use sort of half and half, but maybe just want to tell for people what are the benefits of the Palenque gear over, let's say, other battery powered equipment?
It's well, one of their a couple of their key selling things is their ergonomics. I use backpack blower. It's ergonomic. It's not like the big steel two-stroke BR800 which it replaced. It's not as powerful, but it's not like you're not chucking a big anchor on your back. The whippersnipper, I use a smaller backpack battery for it, and it's really comfortable. The mower, I'm 6'3", so the amount of adjustment that I've got in that with where the handles are, and then the actual main, it's the fancier version of their self-propelled mower. So it's just got the one bar that comes up, so it's just so ergonomic. I've still got a Honda 216, which is my backup, which sits in the shed. And I mowed my lawn with it just before, when was it, mid-autumn, and first time just to give it a run. And I was just like, wow, this thing, it's just like pushing around an anchor. It was just such a difference. Yeah, but
Yeah,
still, Honda 216, still they're pretty bulletproof. But
they
when you're
are.
used to something so ergonomic and light, yeah, and it's quiet. That's the other thing with all the gear. It's just so quiet. I know you're not meant to, but you could get away with not wearing hearing protection, but I still do. I like to listen to my podcasts and music while I'm working.
Yeah, well, we had Jim use some Palenque gear, and he didn't wear the earmuffs because he doesn't have to with that because it's not over the decibel. And he copped a few comments about it, but you're right, it's so quiet you don't really have to if you don't want to. And if you'd like to listen to podcasts and music, as you said, it's a fantastic gear, and also the battery life lasts a full day for you on one charge with one of the batteries.
I could probably get two days easy.
Wow.
Out of the lawnmower, you could probably get probably 3 if you pushed it. The whippersnipper being a smaller one, it's probably a day and a half to 2. Yeah, the blower's probably a couple of days. Yeah.
Was that the main appealing thing to you? Obviously, the ergonomics of it, but was the battery life? Because I know with every other brand, no other brand can replicate the Palenque battery life yet. They've got to have multiple batteries and this and that. So was that something that you really find appealing as well?
Yeah, the efficiency and probably more the ergonomics. Like I tried the steel self-propelled mower, and I was ready to go. I'd actually said to the local dealer here in Tamworth, I said, I'm ready to go. I want to buy it. And then he took a little bit to get back to me. It took a couple of days, and I thought, I'll find out about the Palenque. And then ended up getting Tom from Tinks was able to organise to get a mower up here and tried it, and I was just like, yeah, it's heaps better than the steel. It's actually, I've been told afterwards that the steel is Palenque's old technology. So yeah.
There you go. You know, the Palenques, they just can't bring them into the country enough. There's a lot of demand for those things, and it's just very, as a distributor, it's very hard to get a lot of them in here. But yeah, I'm glad to hear you love the gear, and Jim's a big proponent of the battery stuff, so he'd be rapt to hear that. And I was going to say now about your support from your franchisor. So people outside Jim's might not know, but you have a franchisor who basically runs the region and is there to assist with you. So how's your support been from your franchisor, and what are the sorts of things that they help you out with?
They probably start now. They don't really offer me a lot of support. That might sound like a silly thing to say or a bad thing to say about them, but my business is at the point where I don't really need them. Like, they're more people that you just catch up with and have a chat, see how you're going, what you've been doing. But from the early days, lots of silly questions, setting up the territory right, getting the geo map set up right, helping you not to make mistakes. So, should I do this? Should I do that? We hop on every month to start off with a Zoom meeting with all the people who are in the northern New South Wales area, and then that's been spread out to every couple of months now. Whenever they're in town, catch up, have a meal, see how things are now. And I've actually probably helped them out a fair bit as well. I've trained up a franchisee here in town who was green, could not mow a lawn to save himself, and he's actually, I think he's got more 5-star ratings than me now. I think he'd have to be in his 60, 70 easy.
Oh, wow.
And then there's a couple of other guys who came on board, brand new guys, just drove around, talked to them about pricing, and helping them out to get an idea, saying, hey, this is one of my jobs here, how much do you think it's worth, going through all the little things, the real world things about quoting, because that's one of the things that I found with franchisees, past franchisees who aren't around anymore. They don't know the worth of themselves. They don't know the value of the brand that they're towing around on the back of their trailer every day. So knowing what you're worth, that's probably another key thing that I've tried to impart with these guys that I've trained as well.
It's a great point, Nathan. That's a great point. Can you elaborate on that about knowing what you're worth? Because some people might feel weird. Like, there's a really good point. Some people can just charge, high price, and they're fine with that. Whereas some people get that, they might feel a bit, it might be an easy job for them to do, but they don't price that accordingly as well with their value that they see. So was that a problem for you in the early days? Was that something, how did you get over that sort of, that mentality?
Yeah, I didn't get it right to start off with. I priced some jobs, and you get halfway through it and you go, yeah, I haven't quoted this properly, but still, you've quoted it. You just get it done. You make sure the customer's happy. You provide the best service you can, and you can learn from it and move on. I did it a few times. And every now and again, I haven't quoted a lot of work for a little while, just with everything that I do now, but. I always make sure that I quote properly now, because you don't want to get into a job and go, yeah, I haven't really quoted this properly, and then it to become a frustration and aggravation to you. But regular mowing, that's probably one of the biggest things. If you don't actually quote a job properly to start off with, and then you get that and you're there every fortnight and you're doing it, you're not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be fun. So you need to know what you're worth. You need to know that job, what it's worth to the customer. Whether it's just a normal front and back lawn, edges, blowing, and it's $88. Is that what if that's what you're charging? I think that's probably the average price. Whereas yep, that's good money for what I'm doing. Whereas you get some people, independents, who would do it for maybe $66, and they'd be happy with that. But knowing what you're worth, because there's so many, doing a job and being frustrated when you're doing it because you're not getting paid properly. You don't want to be there. That's a world of pain as far as I'm concerned. But then some people will get caught that they won't actually. They'll go, I'm only getting paid X amount of dollars for this. I don't want to. I won't do it as good a job. I won't blow down. I won't. You just don't want to get caught up. But knowing that what that brand can do, the branding that we've got, going back to the real estate referral that I get now, from doing a couple of good jobs, know what you're worth, know that, people they go to the Jim's brand because they know it's a quality system, whether it's Jim's cleaning or whether it's, Jim's building inspections. They had that 2 other franchises here in town. So, yeah.
It's great advice there as well, and really, really, hopefully people listen to that, because I get the sense sometimes some franchisees in the early days find that hard with the pricing. And as you said, if you get a regular customer and you're locked into that, it sort of just puts you in a bad mood every time you might go to that job every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So looking back on your journey so far, Nathan, what was some advice you might have given to yourself back then when you were starting out? Is there something that you would have maybe done differently, or maybe would have helped you along a bit better in your business journey?
Not to wait for over 12 months to have a holiday. um, Book in regular holidays, and probably not to not to think that you can work as hard as what you do during spring and summer, the growing season, as what you can during winter. That's just, I did that for my first year because it's the unknown, being in business for the first time, and you go, oh, I just got to keep putting money in the bank. You've got to keep putting money in the bank. So your leads are on 7 days a week. I think you've got to set that boundary where leads run only 5 days a week, and have your weekends for your family. That's family time. Because why do you go into business for yourself? You work for yourself so you can provide more for your family, but then also create a better lifestyle for yourself and your family. So to be there for them. Like I see Jim's guys running around on Saturdays and Sundays, and I don't understand. I don't know why they do that. So I'll don't work weekends, have holidays, and don't work so hard. Don't work yourself so hard during winter. Actually take the time not to, to have a break, to recharge the batteries, let the body have a bit of a recoup as well.
Absolutely. I think, the body's important to rest, and obviously the mind as well. But it's great to hear that you've got a lifestyle business for yourself. And in regards to income, you don't have to say what you're making, but in regards to income, are you happy with your level and where you're at?
Oh yeah, like my level income, I won't go into the details of it, but it's good. It is a really good business to be in. I jokingly, someone mentioned, saw the type of vehicle that I drive, and then they've gone, oh, okay, must be some money in this mower. And then I had a friend of mine back in the dealership locally here where I used to work, and he said to me, he said, oh, so, with your business, with the mowing and everything, do you make more than what you did when you worked here? I had a little bit of a giggle and said, yeah, like and more. So it's you'd be doubling what I used to make in what I used to do to net. It's the income rate. Yeah.
Does it surprise you that people don't think that? Because I think there's still a bit of a stigma with home services, right? So cleaning or with gardening, and people just think, oh yeah, that's $20 or $30 an hour, which is obviously not. But they have that mindset still, whereas they might do something which they might sound a bit more prestigious, but they're not doing. They're doing financially a lot less maybe and working a bit more.
I think there's also that sometimes there's that home care. You're only providing a service. It's not the nicest work, so there's that perceived that you're not earning that much money. But it's far from it. Like I sometimes what I can earn, the ability to earn without even having leads turned on is just crazy. Like, and I see the unserviced leads come through. I had a friend who used to work with. He's independent, and he's gone full time in the last 6 months, and he's even surprised himself. And I had a chat to him about what he was charging, and I said, no, you need to increase your prices. And same thing as what I was saying before. You need to know what you're worth.
And no, that's great to hear about that with your friends. And that's so you got a couple of friends who are independent. So how does it compare to you? seeing what they go through in regards to maybe work lead generation compared to what you do with yourself?
They're chasing their tail. I can see that. During summer, I'm usually finished. I'm home by 1:30, 2:00, because I'll be starting the first job at 7:00 in the morning. Sometimes a little bit earlier because of using the electric gear. But I can see that they're out working on weekends too. But yeah, and the dollar value, what they can charge. Yeah, this person, the independent who I used to work with, he was really scared. He's still a little bit concerned about what winter was going to look like for him. He said he'd built up a bit of a savings in the bank, but he was still concerned, and he'd actually had other employment sort of lined up just in case. Whereas, he doesn't have I remember speaking to him about it. He said that he considered gyms, he considered Fox, but he said gyms was probably the better option, but he just didn't have the capacity to get the finance to set himself up with gyms. But he said it was just that the availability of work and the reputation. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the other franchisees must be happy with you in the area doing such great work and not being on leads, because you're probably generating leads for them via your goodwill as well with everything you do.
Yeah, I'm sure Todd and Sarah probably appreciate me saying that. But yeah, we could. I think easily Tamworth could have 2 more Jim's Mowing franchise. He's running around, and there's that much work. Yeah.
So, and do you think the fees are fair in regards to what you pay for what you get, or for what's the
think
value for what you see?
Well, you might think, oh, well, you haven't had any leads for 12 months, but to wait, might think the value isn't there, but I still think it is. I think it's a bit of a security. So I know if I can fall back on leads if I need to. There's the branding, that you're paying into. There's the support, if there's a curly one or a tricky one or a big job that I need help quoting, there's the franchisors that I can lean on. There's the other franchisees in town that if you get stuck with a particular job that you need help with, you can call them on, they'll come and help you out. Or equipment, if you need a hand. I've had franchisees turn up here with the belt off a zero turn on a Saturday morning and couldn't get it back on. So, help them get it back on, and so they could go off and finish off their day and get home to their family. So that's part of, what you're a part of. Your fees are paying into that as well. So, and everything, behind the scenes there at down in Melbourne, the call centre, which really end of the day is providing customer service to franchisees, franchisors, and more importantly, our customers. So,
yeah, I'm glad you said the brand a few times, Nathan, because I look at it from a little bit different perspective because I sit in the office all the time. But it's more about like, you got this Jim's Mowing brand, which has like almost cult-like status in Australia, right? You've got like, Bunnings, you got Dan Murphy's, and you got like Jim's Mowing, which we see online all the time with the young kids. Like it's like this cultural icon of a brand, which you can pay a really small, like a flat fee amount every month to get access to use on anything you want. And as soon as people see that, they know that it's trusted, they know it's Aussie owned, they know that you got, all this stuff behind it, right? And it's a really small share. Whereas you were to buy a share of Bunnings or, McDonald's or whatever to put on whatever you're doing, you're paying a lot of money for that. Whereas with our IP or the Jim's Mowing IP, you're paying, and all for that goodwill of all the franchisees, which yourself and previous ones who come before you do all this great work, all that goodwill just makes it more valuable. Yet the fee really only goes up with CPI generally most years. So I'm glad you said the brand a few times because it's so important, and people definitely underestimate it and go, well, what does the brand actually mean? So that's you've said a lot of great stuff around that sort of tonight as well. Now, in regards to advice for someone looking at Jim's Mowing or thinking about doing it, what would you say to them, and sort of what research did you do when you were investigating it?
Jump in, go for it. I think it's foolproof, and I think I listened back the other day to Gary from the podcast. He does the lawn mowing, lawnmower. I can't remember. Lawn Stars Australia
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah. Yep.
And when he interviewed Jim, and and he was talking about the value of the brand as well, and understanding. And I think Gary actually said that if he was to go hadn't started off independent, and I think he said he couldn't get the finance because he had gone through a divorce and whatever. He actually went the way of independent, but he said if he hadn't, he would have gone Jim's. He said because of the brand, because he understood the lead system, the way that leads worked, the work guarantee. There's just all those things, all that risk. I'm not going to say there's no risk, but a lot of the risk is taken out by going with Jim's. There's so much support there. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer to go in with Jim's Mowing. There's a lot of people out there who think that, oh yeah, Jim's just in it for himself, blah, blah, blah. Well, people in business are in it for themselves, aren't they? Yeah. So yeah, but he's making so many, however many thousands of franchisees he's got, he's making them providing a great lifestyle, great income for their families through his business, through that brand. So
I'm glad you said that, Nathan. And I see it all the time. So I obviously manage social media and I manage Jim's stuff, and I see it all the time. And Jim's a greedy millionaire and this and that. And I feel like saying to them, like, if Jim really wanted to, he could not charge flat fee. It could be revenue share, or it could be percentage of turnover, and he'd be doing far, far better.
Yeah.
But his attitude is like, well, I haven't done anything to make your business, but that's the franchisee. So the more you earn, the more should be down to you. I've done nothing at head office, but it's a very fair system, and it's great to hear someone from like Lawn Stars podcast, because it's an independent mowing channel, talk about Jim's. And I do get sent stuff a bit about where they mention Jim's Mowing and stuff, and they've always been very fair. And other podcasts as well, which we get Jim onto with lawn stuff. It's it's a really good industry in regards to how they view Jim's Mowing. It's quite you wouldn't think it might not be that case, because Jim's Mowing is obviously the biggest, and it might be a bit of competition and stuff. But it's really good from hearing those industry podcasts where Jim's Mowing comes up. They said exactly the similar things to what you were saying then.
Well, there are some people out there who, and it's mainly other the independents, who will knock Jim's Mowing. They will say that the Jim's Mowing franchisee did this, but then they didn't blow down properly. They blew all the grass onto the road, and you're just like, no, they didn't, because if they did, they would get a complaint, and then they got to answer the gym. But then you see independents doing exactly the same thing. So
it's quite funny, Nathan. I do TikTok's one of our biggest social media channels, and whenever we post a video about mowing or something, we get comments from independents. Jim's Mowing guy did this, blah 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 blah. Or I get all these clients because I get all these clients from Jim's Mowing because they're no good, blah 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 blah. And I think I feel like saying it's the other way around. We get a lot of clients, or you guys will get a lot of clients, because they've had a bad experience with the independent who hasn't been insured, or has just disappeared because he couldn't sustain his business, or just stopped rocking up for whatever reason, done a bad job. And then they come to Jim's Mowing after they've tried to go for the other option first. So it works in a bit of reverse as well. And I see a lot of the independent stuff, what you're just saying as well, online. And they're probably not aware of just how strict the customer service and the complaint system is with our franchisees.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. No worries. Was there anything else, Nathan, I haven't asked you that maybe you want to share, or anything, a plug from Todd and Sarah Bryson or something that you might get some free beer out or something? I don't know, but is there?
No, all I can say is, if you are considering jumping into gyms, I'm happy to take people out on, trial days so they can understand, teach them some of the bits and pieces that I've learned over the time. There's some really, really good guys out there that are willing to help. Todd and Sarah are great franchisors, and I'm sure that there's plenty of spots around, northern New South Wales ready to go, I think. And the opportunities out there to earn good money, create a good lifestyle for you and your family. Yeah.
Oh, thanks for your time, Nathan. You've done a great job to start during or just before COVID with the online training, to do as well as you've done. It's not the common thing. Most people who did the online training, we knew from surveys, actually did poorer than doing the training in person. Yeah. So to do as well as what you've done is a really big outlier, and you've done a fantastic job and do a great work. So we're going to get this on the system log for you, which is the Silver Accor membership, which is 2 free nights to stay at any Accor brand. It's like Sofitel, Pullman, wherever you want to stay, for 2 free nights. and you get 50% off up to your dining bill at over 1,400 restaurants, percentage of drinks, all this different stuff as well. So hopefully you and the partner can enjoy that. And on behalf of Jim's Group and Jim's Mowing, thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for all the hard work you do. We appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
All right then.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for joining me, Nathan. Thank you for listening to the episode of the More Than Just Mowing podcast by Jim's Mowing. If you do need help with your local gardening expert, please give us a call on 131 546 for Australia, 0800 454 654 for New Zealand, or head to jimsmowing.com.au or jimsmowing.co.nz. If you liked what you heard, please make sure you leave us a review as well, wherever you consume your podcast. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.